Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. We just wrapped up our interview with Travis Smith, CEO and founder of Tribevest. Anthony, what's a takeaway or two you had?
I would tell you, I even told you once we done with the interview, kudos to you for bringing him on. This was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And what he talks about is creating this group, or they call a tribe, to compile your assets and your knowledge to invest. Like, we've heard of these. I remember hearing about these stock investment clubs like in the 80s and 90s. This is just done at a whole new level. And it's not just stocks, man, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And I think if this is something you're doing where you have a group of friends or family that are investing, got to listen to this podcast, right? But I'm also thinking for the people who aren't, this might open your eyes. Maybe there's some advantages of starting your own tribe to do some sort of these investing. And what I really like is a problem that they're solving.
Yeah.
Right. If you're gonna do this or get this tribe together, there's gonna be one person who's gonna have to keep track. One person's gonna be the money guy, and maybe I'm more sensitive because it tends to be me. I feel like, so I'm the one kind of trying to.
You are very sensitive. You're correct.
Yeah. I got to set up the bank account and set up the LLC and then manage where the funds are and tell people, all right, you got to put in your capital. You don't have to do that with this. I mean, this is outsourcing that. Not only is it outsourcing something that nobody wants to do, but the way that they do it, you can get your tribe set up in 2 days.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Cam, what were some of your takeaways?
Man, right, kind of along that same thing is what they're doing is they're building a community, which, if you take it to kind of our experience, my experience was, man, when I first came across infinite banking is there wasn't a community. You had to go out there and find somebody, and unfortunately I found you, and only you, and so I stuck with you, right? But you go out there and you find this community, man. These guys are building a platform that people can come and kind of build that community online, find some common ground, and start going after their goals. So, man, I love that idea of it. One of the things that I really liked what he said was when people ask him what he would do differently, he said everything, right? Is you learn by mistakes. And so he's out there pioneering, paving the way for a lot of us that will be using this platform. And so, man, kudos to Travis for kind of getting this thing up and going. And you can see it in the growth that he's had just in the short period of time. So, man, I really enjoyed this interview. I hope you guys too. But Travis Smith, founder and CEO of Tribevest, it's a platform that makes it easy and safe to invest as a group and do deals together in as little as 48 hours. The path is as a group, as a tribe. Travis is obsessed with building a platform that standardizes, streamlines, and ultimately de-risks group investing. He won't stop until every single player deal on and off the internet is an opportunity for a multiplayer experience. He's building Tribevest so you don't always have to go it alone. Enjoy this interview.
Take care.
Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast, where we teach clients how to build wealth and create passive income without the risk of Wall Street.
Awesome. Travis, hey man, we are happy that you are joining us today. And we're excited to jump into this discussion a little bit more about Tribevest. But, man, if we can, let's start with you, right? Tribevest really started with your idea. So kind of give us a little bit about your background and how this thing came about.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great to be here. Been looking forward to this. And, this isn't the first time we've been on a live broadcast before and been together. But it's great to actually be interacting with you two. I'm Travis Smith, founder and CEO of Tribevest. Definitely came up through the financial services and wealth services industry, but probably most relevant to what I'm doing now is, on my personal wealth journey. My personal wealth journey, it was my brothers and I on a fishing trip that we couldn't afford. And we were trying to figure out ways to invest into the private markets, right? We had our W-2 job. We've been kind of checking off life check boxes, went to school, got a good job, good income.
Yeah.
And this was right around during the time of the Great Recession. And we realized that promise of, just doing those things was going to be enough. It was clear to us that we needed to take ownership. And we always saw real estate as a way to hack wealth without having to give up our day jobs. But, to break in, to find the capital to invest in those types of private investments, it's hard to do on your own. And so together, we came together. We started pulling capital together on a regular basis, monthly basis. And eventually, we had 25K between the four of us, and we made our first investment. And then we made another one. And then we made another one. And we just kept putting in regular capital. And then we made another one. And then we made another one. And then we had an exit. And we made another investment. And, here we are, 13 years later. And we look back and we realize that by forming and funding an investor tribe, a multi-membered LLC, we unlocked a future that none of us could have achieved on our own. And so that's what I'm working on now is Tribevest. We built the platform we wished we had back then.
There's a bunch there to unpack, but Travis, if you could go back to some of this thing, I'm hearing kind of twofold. One is you got kind of a family dynamic to it, but also you're starting off kind of an uncharted territory, kind of going down this road. If you could maybe touch on both of those, is what were some of the, reservations you might have had on the personal side? How did that work out for you? But then kind of dive into that professional side. What obstacles did you guys have to overcome?
Yeah, great question. I think naively, we weren't too worried about it. I mean, we were brothers, we were close. We weren't worried about the old don't invest or mix business with your friends that we've all been told, right? Or friends or family. But again, I probably quite naively, we were like, we're above that. We love each other. We've got a great relationship. What could go wrong, right? And along the way was kind of when we realized that, gosh, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And to be honest, when we kind of were asked about, starting Tribevest and could we help others form tribes and create tribes, we had to ask ourselves, what would we do differently? And the answer was everything. Like we did everything wrong. First of all, it didn't almost get off the ground because of everything. It's a very antiquated process. Do I need a LLC? What about an operating agreement? What type of attorney? All these things we didn't know. And in a lot of cases, we didn't set them up the right way. And then the main thing we didn't set up is the thing that protects friends and family to be able to do business together. And that's a rules of the road, a governing document that you agree on up front. Because when those what ifs and then what's come up, and they will, it's unemotional. It's how do we handle this? How did we agree we would handle this? Oh, cool. That's how we'll handle it. And for us, we skipped some of those steps, and we had this realization along the way of, gosh, what did we get ourselves into with this tribe investing thing? Thank God the benefit outweighed all the kind of messiness that can come with a tribe. But that, again, that looking back at it in forming or building Tribevest, it was how do we get rid of that messiness? How do we make group investing easy? How do we make group investing safe? How do we make group investing transparent? And that's what we're built. So yeah, it wasn't pretty. The first tribe was not pretty, but we survived. We still love each other, and it's still our favorite thing to do in the whole world. One of our early goals, guys, I think you guys will appreciate that. I got to know and appreciate kind of your guys' values of family. One of our big drivers was we wanted to own a vacation home together, where we had this space where all of our families could come together, the cousins could hang out. And, so that was kind of like a real highlight a few years ago when we achieved that dream. And just a few weeks ago, got back from Cape Cod and an amazing trip on this jointly owned vacation home, short-term rental, spot.
Man, I love that story. I love that part of it, right? I've got a similar vision. I'd love to be able to do that, and we'll be doing that soon. I have a question to go back again. I keep going back to the front end of it, but what was everybody's experience prior to you guys setting out on this? Was anybody kind of set in the way and saying, hey, here's what I want to do? Or did you guys have a background in real estate?
Yeah, great question. No. And that was a lot of the motivation for the tribe. I think, a lot of people think of Tribevesting just as a way to stack capital and get over thresholds, which it does, right? It does that very, very well. But for so many, it's the learning and growing together and finding confidence, right? Finding confidence to take those steps. You guys read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Makes a ton of sense, right? It's another thing to go out there and live it. For us, it was very helpful to have our tribe, be there to support each other. It's a little bit like, hey, I can tell you I'm going to the gym at 6 a.m. tomorrow, right? And maybe I won't be there. But if I said I'm going to meet you, Anthony and Cameron, at the gym at 6 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a little bit of that. Not a little bit. That's a huge part of this. Learning and growing together.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, man, and I love that, right? I think one of the biggest things, right, for our approach, right, is typically we're giving people some ideas to think a little bit differently, think outside the box. And for a lot of people, that first step can be pretty scary. But I see that as kind of a pro in this scenario, right? Is you're bringing people that are like-minded together and we're all kind of working towards one goal, right? Maybe what are some of the other pros that you see by kind of working at this group investing or this tribe-vesting as opposed to going it as an individual?
Yeah. So, there's the stacking the capital. There's the gaining confidence and, learning and journeying, experiencing together. And then think about when you're evaluating deals, right? You're making a decision to be able to have multiple people, 4 or 5 people, all looking at the same deal from different angles, and everybody's shaking their head up and down and saying, yeah, this is a good deal, right? And if there's 5 people looking at it that say it's a good deal, it's probably a good deal. The other piece of this is your extended network, right? So depending on, am I out there networking? Am I in your community and other communities to find deals and to find different investment strategies? It's a lot of work, right? Like we have a lot of passive investors that are investing in real estate syndications and things like that. But as they all know, it's anything but passive, because the work up front that you put in to make your investment a passive one is a lot of work. And so the idea of having a tribe where everybody's out there talking about different deals, keeping their eyes for different deals, and then coming together and evaluating those deals together is another huge benefit.
What about some of the are there limitations on maybe the tribe? Who can be a tribe? How many people you can have in a tribe? How do you create a tribe? And then what are people investing in? You touched on syndications. What else are they doing?
Yeah. So believe it or not, a little bit of the magic is just leveraging a super simple structure of a multi-membered LLC in a partnership, right?
Okay.
And it's governed by their operating agreement. So what's the big deal? Well, how's Tribevest help with that? Can't anybody do that? Absolutely. And we're, and people are, and we didn't invent group investing. But I think, the wealthy have been coming together with their friends and family for a long time, but they have expensive attorneys and advisors at the ready, right? And so they've been setting up these entities, for a long time. It's the rest of us, like my brothers and I, that didn't have a clue, didn't have the attorney in our country club, or hell, we didn't have the country club that had the attorney. So, Tribevest is built to streamline a very proven, simple process. And really what Tribevest has done is we've taken that very simple structure and we've turned it into a vehicle with our technology and transparency. So you can easily form your tribe, open up an FDIC insured business bank account, be pulling capital in 2 days or less, right?
Wow.
And be able to pull your capital and make an investment together. So that's, as far as limitations, there's not many. I think really the best tribes, though, you can kind of think of the dinner party rule, is any more than 7, it's kind of hard to all be in the same conversation, right? So our best tribes are, anywhere from 2 to 10, but we have some that are 50, right? But again, it just depends on, what your application is. Most tribes are right around that 5 to 7 range is kind of a limit.
Travis, are there limits on what they can invest in?
Yeah. So no, you think about this. Well, let me qualify that, but the quick answer is no. They are investing, putting their capital into a multi-membered LLC where that's their capital investment. So they're an active owner of that LLC, and together they can make a decision on where to deploy that capital, right? And now, if that investment requires you to be an accredited investor, right, then it's important that that entity is an accredited entity. So those are some of the restrictions, and how you become an accredited tribe. It's real simple. There's other ways to do it, but the real simple way is all the members need to be accredited. So,
okay, so we can't stack. Well, Travis, will you give us a little backstory on will you let Cameron know what an accredited investor is, right? And why that is important?
No doubt. So
he's taking notes right now.
Right.
Thanks, Travis.
Yeah. And you're going to test my recollection here, but an accredited investor has to have $1 million or more of investable assets. And Anthony, Cameron, you guys can correct me here. Yeah. And then there's another way you can get there, which is just showing that you have a certain income over a certain amount of years. So there's a number of ways to achieve that accredited status. There's a number of companies out there that will, verify that in fact you are accredited. And a lot of those investments that require accredited investment, the obligation is on them to make sure that they're doing business with accredited investors. I'm not a fan of this. It's a little bit of the government kind of deciding who's smart enough or who's successful enough to invest in certain types of assets. But those are the rules that are out there. And again, a tribe can be accredited, and we have accredited tribes investing in accredited deals all the time. And I'll keep going. I still haven't answered what our tribes are all investing in, but let's finish this thought.
You go ahead. It's Cameron and I that are kind of trying to see who's going to go next.
Oh, cool. Well, I haven't gotten to what are they investing in, and they're investing in everything. Like, it's amazing, right? And real estate is over 50% of our tribes are investing in real estate. They're investing in all sorts of different ways and strategies of real estate. So we already mentioned passive investing into real estate syndication is a huge market for us. But then we have active investors that are doing short-term rentals, traditional single-family rentals, You kind of name it. Like if there's an investment out there, there's tribes out there doing it. A lot of angel investors investing into startups. So a lot of our tribes are investing into Tribevest or have invested into Tribevest and other startups. Crypto, we have kind of the old traditional 1980s stock tribes that are invested in the public markets too. A lot of Web3 type investments and assets, a lot of recreation stuff. So RVs, boats, collectible cars, art, a lot of those things.
Go ahead.
We just started streaming this podcast on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're on there, feel free to ask a question while we got Travis here. And we do have a question from Tyler, and he wanted to and I think you might have answered it, but a lot of times people want to get into syndication and maybe they need to be accredited. So just to clarify, all the members have to be accredited in order to be considered a accredited investor,
accredited entity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not, that's the easiest, simplest way. Right. Okay. So that one's very clean.
Slam dunk. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the slam dunk. And then there are other ways in which you can be an accredited entity, which would include having collectively $5 million of investable assets. And so anyway, we'd probably have to do a whole nother show.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
got you. Okay.
But there are other ways to get there. And then of course, more than ever, there's non-accredited deals. I mean, we've been kind of poking fun that there's a accredited in that rule, but regulations are loosening, and more than ever, there's tons of great deals out there that are for non-accredited as well.
Travis, who's this for? I've heard you describe kind of you and your brothers that kind of just started and said, hey, let's throw some money in a pot, essentially is what I heard there. I don't know if it was right. And then you also said, hey, there's some accredited investors as well. Is there a sweet spot, or, who's really kind of taking this on?
Yeah, great question. What we're so excited about is the platform really scales. It scales. We have, people pulling millions of dollars together. We have people that are pulling hundreds of dollars together, right? And everything in between. But, to answer your question, I think, there's kind of two personas here. There's the tribe-driven tribe, and that was a little bit my brothers and I, right? Like we just wanted to pull capital. We knew when we had capital, we would be investors. And so we were on this journey together, and it was a lot about learning and growing together and building wealth together. And then there's kind of the deal-driven tribes. And those are ones that, are out there looking for deals, and then they come together with their tribe to get the deal done. And that's a great example of the accredited investor or the passive investor into real estate syndication. Where on their own, right, they could maybe invest in one or two deals a year. And that's, $50,000 minimums, right? I don't care who you are. Like $50,000 is a hard thing to, pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
And so what Tribevest does for those people is they're like, I want to be in more deals. I want to diversify. I don't want to just be in 3 deals. I don't want to just be in one deal. I want to be with my tribe, and I want to say yes to the 10 to the 12 best deals every year and get in on those with my tribe and increase my opportunity for success and spread my risk across a number of deals. Also, tribes are coming together to get over new thresholds. So if we invest over $250,000 or we invest over $1 million into a deal, all of a sudden we get a little preferred terms. And okay. Tribevest is great for that as well.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being a slam dunk.
Travis, does somebody come to you once they've got a tribe, or does it like, hey, I'm an individual, help find me a tribe?
So both are coming to us, but what we're built for at this moment is people that come with their tribe.
Okay.
That being said, like we have a lot of communities out there that have a bunch of individuals. They may or may not know each other, but they have a similar interest, and then they're coming together to form a tribe in order to achieve something. So anyway, it's not always kind of friends and family. It's people that have a shared mindset and in a position to do a tribe together. In the future, you'll be able to join Tribevest and be networked with different communities out there, cool, and potentially be able to form a tribe with folks you don't even know.
Now, Travis, help us understand, because people have been, look, we could start a partnership. We can start our own LLC. We could do this ourselves. What's the advantage of going through Tribevest? How does Tribevest make this more efficient?
Yeah, great question and good point. And we're out there about thinking about anybody that's out there forming partnerships, yeah, to go faster, to go further, to do more. Like, we're in the same community, and like we're really, that's the movement that we're a part of. But the question is, well, what's Tribevest do if I can do that? Yeah. And the question, you'll have to answer that question. But does us streamlining getting the LLC, making it so you're configuring an operating agreement, opening up an FDIC insured business bank account in minutes, all those things about starting a tribe, right? But here's the real value, right? It's the only platform where all the members can assemble on a single dashboard. You have transparency to your governing documents. You have transparency to everybody's capital contributions. You have access and transparency to your bank account, all the transactions, everybody's cap table or ownership table, all the discussions and records of decisions from the group there. And we just kind of go on and on. And you think about, without a dashboard that has all of that, right? How do you stay in communication and touch? Now, if it's just two of you, cool. Maybe you don't need Tribevest, but you start to get 3 and 4. Who's managing the spreadsheets? Who's sending out the email? So that's the real value of Tribevest, is our transparent technology and making sure everybody's just held accountable in a fun, exciting way.
Well, I could see that, because typically your tribe is going to probably be friends and family, right? So it's somebody you already know. And then you always have, it's like you go out to dinner and there's always one person who's real slow to take the credit card out. That's Cameron, super slow, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, I'll do it. Or if you're all going to chip in, there's always somebody who's slow paying it. And you got to, hey, Cameron, remember you're supposed to do this or do that. I mean, now, instead of that burden coming from like the mentor-mentee kind of guy, or big brother, little brother, it's coming from, hey, like this independent party is like, oh, you need to do this, or here's a reminder, or this could keep track of it. You don't have one individual. It's not the responsibility of one individual tracking.
You're crushing it right now.
No, I can.
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it. So what you just talked about was a neutral third party, right? And the power of a neutral third party. And you're right. You don't want to be the guy or gal that's like Cameron, come on, man, like pay up, right? Like,
Yeah, come on, pay up.
no one
Cameron.
wants to, that's when the business between friends it stinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Truth be told, Travis, I've never gone to dinner with this guy, and there's a reason.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Every tribe's going to have a Cameron, right?
Right. The point is spot on.
Yeah.
And you think about like what's changed in terms of technology, guys. I mean, it wasn't long ago, the idea of summoning a stranger to my house and jumping in the back seat of the car for them to take me somewhere sounded pretty crazy, right? Or the Airbnb, having somebody stay, a stranger into my house. So what's changed, right? And it's a neutral third party platform that has made it safe and simple to transact in new ways. And so in a lot of ways, we're standing on the shoulders of our big brother and big sisters of that were ahead of us with Airbnb, Uber, and others, that just by having that neutral third party, you take the burden off of having to ask your friend to do it, because now it's all on the platform. You've already agreed to it. It's all automated, all those things. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, and one obstacle when somebody's creating this is setting up the LLC. That's not cheap. Then somebody has to compile all that information and even set up the bank account. Mm-hmm. Like the bank accounts we've set up, we both got to be there, or, it's just difficult. So explain, and I know I kind of know the answer because we've been prepping for this, but just kind of how do you guys help expedite as far as setting up the LLC, the operating agreement, and the bank account?
Yeah. So, I mean, you nailed it. You can't fully appreciate just how antiquated and what a burden it is. And you were right to point out it's one person. Like, so after you're at happy hour and having beers and everybody's saying, hey, we should invest together. Like, let's pull our capital, and you all break. Well, there's one person that's in charge of kind of figuring all that stuff out, right? Yeah. And that's a huge burden. And what Tribevest is, well, let me just bust out my phone, start a tribe. And Tribevest is integrated with all 50 Secretary of States. So file your LLC, in some cases, depending on the state, in minutes, right? Usually within a day or two. And then when you get that article organization back from the state, in minutes, we've already opened up an FDIC insured business bank account. And that's unheard of. As you guys know, I mean, usually you've got to put in an application. You both have to be there to sign. It used to be record-breaking fast if you could do that in 3 or 4 weeks. And now you can literally do it in minutes.
Yeah, when we've had to open up our bank accounts, literally we're blocking out 2 hours of time. I don't know what the banker's doing over there, but she's over here making phone calls, and it's almost
not, when you get a disruptive fintech like us, it's almost not fair when that's our competition out there. But
it is fair.
It is fair. We're just making it way better and easy. Yeah. And they have no interest in making it better or easy for us. So we went out and built the technology and the banking infrastructure, which is where I come from too. Other than my personal experience, I came from a company called Jack Henry and Associates, which is a multi-billion-dollar fintech that over 3,000 small to medium-sized banks run on their back-end software and front-end software. So that was a little bit of how I was able to kind of connect the dots in the early days and provide a streamlined solution.
Travis, you made a comment earlier. You said that some of your tribes are investing in Tribevest. Can you explain that to me or to Anthony?
Yeah.
You can't, too late.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
So this is a really unique, rare thing. we think, and we've been told, you guys tell me, but we're growing like crazy, right? We're growing fast. This Tribevesting, collaborative investing is really catching on. So we have happy customers, right? That's one. And then two, half of our customers are repeat customers or referring customers. So we have customers that are advocates. And then recently this year, we kept getting asked, hey, we're investors. We know you're a startup. Can we invest in Tribevest? And we were listening, and we actually went out and asked, like, hey, are you guys serious? And it turned out they were very serious. And so just recently, a few weeks ago, we launched a public crowdfunding campaign. And I'm proud to say that, 3 weeks in, we're raising $1 million, and we're already over $800,000 from our customers. So it just tells you how excited our customers are about what we're doing. It's a movement. It's a movement, and they're investing in that movement in our company. And we're doing the fundraise on WeFunder. So if you go to WeFunder, I think .com and /Tribevest, you can learn all about our fundraise that should be closing up soon.
Travis, you said it's a movement. This is just an opinion question. What's behind the movement? Why is this movement? Any thoughts on that?
Being empowered, taking ownership and control is in reach. I think that's what's so exciting about what you guys are doing. You're doing a lot of like what we're doing, right? There's a lot of inventing and things like that, but you're leveraging things and just presenting it in a way that's useful and empowering, right? And usable. And that's what we're doing. And more than ever, there's these tools out there, and it's in everybody's, human instinct is to yearn for something better, right? And to provide more for the next generation and legacy. And Tribevest is, people are seeing it and going, I can go further, faster with a tribe. And now that's, I've been empowered. I mean, we're really excited. Like over half of our customers are people of color and from immigrant communities.
Wow.
And, over 40% of our founders are women, right? So what's that tell us? Like traditionally very unrepresented in the wealth space, right? And people that are active in the wealth space are super active on Tribevest. And I think, that sends a signal of what this movement represents out there.
You know what? I'm going to add a little bit to that question, if you don't mind, Cameron. But even if you do, I don't care.
I don't know why you're asking.
I think what people are getting fed up. Like you mentioned that Empower.
Yeah.
I think people are seeing, Wall Street is a little rigged. I don't have that much control of it. The financial planners we're getting that's not working. I think people are realizing, hey, if I want to live the life I want to live, I'm going to have to take the reins, and I'm going to have to be a leader. We can't just delegate all this stuff off. And what you guys are doing is helping people kind of, I love the name with the tribe.
Yeah.
It's helping people kind of get together, which getting together, for one, there's also capital, but like you also mentioned, which I think a lot of people don't imagine or can't see the intangible side of having those resources of working with other people, getting other different opinions. So, man, Travis, I think you guys are doing great. And I think really in summary, what you guys are doing is you're setting up the LLC, setting up the operating agreement. Or I guarantee you, any listeners out there that are doing this on themselves, I'm willing to bet you don't have an operating agreement. right? You just did the minimum you needed to do to get things done, to open up the account, and that worked until it doesn't.
Yeah.
If something that comes on where you guys, your partners don't agree, or there's somebody needs to exit, you need to have this set up right. You need to go through all of these things while everybody at the honeymoon phase. When you're starting out, everybody's cool and happy and excited. That's when you got to document it, because when somebody's not happy, that's not the time to figure this stuff out.
Right. It's emotional at that point, right?
Yeah.
And you want it to be unemotional. Yeah.
And you guys have the bank account. You guys are doing that all within 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that speed of time is valuable.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we had you on, Travis. I'll stop talking.
No, that was spot on. Spot on. Yeah.
So we don't even need Cameron then. All right, Travis.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And, you're right. People are fed up. I think people, the secret's out, but trying to buy stocks low and sell them high, and, any of that really transactional stuff, it's a tough go. But I think what people realize is when you have ownership, when you own things, you have options. And when you have options, you're free. And that's what we're all after, is financial freedom and freedom in general. And financial freedom is a key part of having freedom. So yeah, we're just glad to be, part of it. We feel like the work we're doing is important. And it's not about, in individual investing versus group investing. That it's not, one or the other. You need to be individually investing in things, right? You need to be on an individual journey. But we think 10, 15% of your capital should be with your tribe because of what it represents. It represents you getting into a new market, represents you getting into a new asset. It represents, getting into something that maybe you wouldn't or couldn't on your own. So we see the day when everybody has their tribe. It's less about what you're investing in. It's more about who you're investing with.
Well said. Let's wrap it up there. Travis, once again, where can somebody find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, come visit us at tribevest.com. You can get started. You can form or create a tribe plan for free and share it, right? And just get it out there to your tribe and see what comes back. And then of course, make it really easy for you to actually start your tribe. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can just Google Travis Smith, and Tribevest is a great place to find me as well. But other than that, just find us at tribevest.com.
Awesome. We'll make sure that we put those contact information in the show notes. But Travis, thanks again, man. Really appreciate you joining us today.
And I appreciate what you guys are doing. After I saw you guys for the first time, I'm planning on actually reaching out to you on for my personal self. And
I knew you were a smart guy, Travis.
Yeah. I mean, what you guys are doing is really exciting, really exciting. So thanks for the good work you're doing in this show, for helping spread resources and good news.
Awesome, Travis. Thanks again for for being on our podcast, and go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. Also, check out our website, infinitewealthconsultants.com, to find our podcast along with other additional resources.